Welcome to Pure Hustle Podcast. I'm Mike.
And this is Rolando, and we're here for a Monday minisode in the midst of Q4, but we just want to make it quick and let you know there are some myths out there that we just want to debunk.
Yeah, and the hard part is, there's some truth to these. Like a lot of good myths. There's an element of truth, and so we're going to try and be nuanced and explain why these aren't guarantees. Because what a lot of times people will do is they'll think if I follow a formula and do A plus B, then I'm going to get C. And that isn't always the case. And a lot of times people are under the impression and they're led to believe that if they do these things, it's going to guarantee success. And we're going to explain why that isn't always the case and ways that you can make sure that you get that success.
Yeah. So basically, there's these three myths that people always use that they guarantee, like, things were slow and then I did this and the floodgates opened and my 90-day total tripled.
It's the magic pill.
And it's just not true. So the first one is sending offers. Now, sending offers will give you more sales, but that's not guaranteed. I would say for myself, and everybody's different, but I might send 100 offers in like 2 or 3 days, and maybe 5 to 10% of those lead to more sales. Yeah. Maybe. That's like if things are really good. Right now, it all depends, right? If you do a 50% off send offer, probably going to convert, right? But if you're doing 5, 10, 20%, don't know. But it is interesting because I hear a lot of people saying, yeah, if you just keep sending offers, and I'm telling you that, and not just from me, but just from many other resellers I know, that send offers is a great tool and you definitely should use it. But just don't think, hey, just because I send offers, I'm just going to get a lot more sales.
Yeah. And a lot of it too is like timing. And like you said, the amount that you're offering off. We've talked about like striking when the iron is hot, making sure that you're willing to or able to send offers as soon as somebody's heavy browsing or have put something into a cart or put something onto a watch list. But if you wait too long, if you're sending offers, because sometimes it's just more useful to sit down and say, okay, like tonight before I go to bed, I'm going to send offers on everything I have offers on. Well, somebody might have already got past that euphoria of, ooh, this is a cool item, and they're searching for it. So they get the offer and they've already, they no longer have that mania driving them to say, yes, buy. So sometimes it's the timing of it, and sometimes it's the amount you're offering. Those things are factors that are going to be important when it comes to sending offers. The next one is having the lowest price. Now, of course, again, like I said, there's always some truth to this. If you've got all things equal, the lowest price should be the one that sells. Mm-hmm. But that's all things being equal. There are a lot of factors that are in play here. One of the factors could be your pictures. One of the factors could be your store reputation. If you're a newer seller and you've got, less than 100 sales and somebody else is a major seller and they sell in this niche and they've got tons of reviews and people trust them, especially if it's something like a collectible. Even if you're a little bit lower than they are, people might go to the source that they're used to, that they know that they can trust. And then also there's the factor of what's your store standing in eBay in the sense of, is eBay pushing you? Maybe somebody else they're seeing those, because if they're not necessarily filtering lowest price, which I think is pretty much the default, but the first several that are on there might be promoted listings of some kind. Mm-hmm. And so people might be buying those promoted listings. So eBay has an incentive a lot of times to push, especially pay-per-click or highly promoted items as opposed to yours, which might be a little bit lower price. But if your store is not popping up or your item is not popping up, it could be the way you've titled your listing. It could be the description of your item. So there's a lot of factors that are in play here. Lowest price is one of those factors, but a lot of times people think if you're the lowest price, you're going to sell no matter what. And that's true if all other factors are equal, but you got to look at those other things too. Those are going to play a role. And is your item even a hot item right now? Like you can have the lowest price on an item in a category, but if that item isn't moving for anybody, it's still not going to move for you.
And some of the other things you had to mention, return policy is a place there. Your shipping policy is there. I would even say like your pictures. I would even say your response time when somebody messages you. There's so many factors in play. Just getting something to the lowest price is not going to guarantee, because the algorithm may not even push it because it's at the lowest price, right? You might be in the lowest price, but you might be 2 or 3 pages down on the eBay search page when people are looking for items. So it does not guarantee sales. Now, this other one is going to be controversial, but I've heard it so much in this last year that as somebody who has been selling full time for 5 years, okay, I've been selling overall part time for, 11 plus years. And it's just not true. You know, we in life, we want the 2 + 2 = 4 scenario, right? I go to the right school, I'm going to get the great job, right? If I marry this person, things are going to turn out well. If I get my kids to do these certain things, they're going to turn out great. But there's no guarantees in life. And the same things in reselling. Just because you list daily, you're not going to get the same results. And a lot of people have this belief that that's the case, that, hey, if I list 20 items a day, I'm going to get to a place where I'm selling 20 items a day. And that's just not how eBay works, right? There is no magical mathematical thing where, you know, hey, if I double my inventory, I'm going to get double the sales. I don't know how many larger resellers are actually real resellers, not just, you know, somebody that, you know, resells, but they also have a YouTuber, or somebody that resells and they have a full-time job, that actually are able to pull this off. It's not guaranteed. Right now, do I list daily? Sure, I list daily. Do I try to list my quota every day? I do, because obviously I'm not going to make sales if I don't have items out there. But it's not a guarantee. And I think many people during this Q4 came to that realization.
Yeah, and we've talked about that with like work. I'm a huge advocate of hard work, but the other side of that is some people say, well, you got to work smarter, not harder. And there's truth to that too. But you've got to, just because you're working hard doesn't mean it's going to be valuable. So I get that. Like if all you're doing is moving rocks from one side of the room to the other and back and forth, that's not going to be productive work. And just listing items doesn't guarantee that those are items that are going to sell, that they're high valued items. But the other side of that is, if it's not listed, if it's just sitting in a death pile, it'll never sell. So is it better to list? Absolutely. And I also do think it does activate your store. I've gone through probably more often than you do, because I'm part-time, where I'll go a week, 2 weeks, sometimes without doing tons of listings. My sales start to drop. I start doing a few listings. All of a sudden sales pick back up. So there does seem to be a swing there as far as eBay sees that your store is more active. They're more likely to push your stuff. And I think more of it is just the mathematical fact of the more items you're listing, the more likely that one of those items is going to sell, because you have more potential like targets out there that people are looking for. But again, like you said, it's not a perfect linear thing. You can't say, if I was at 100 items, I made X amount. So if I get 200, it'll be twice that much. You might only grow by 10%, but double your income, or you might double your inventory, but only go up 10%. There's so many factors as far as what you're listing. Is it what people are looking for? Do you have all these other, your pricing, all of that? Is that right? And all of those things have to take into account. You can list 1,000 worthless items every single day and not sell anything, or you can list one very valuable item every so often and your store can be doing fine. I do think again, all things being equal, if you can be listing more, it is going to help in some way. But again, it's not the magic pill that you could just grab a random item in your house. And I don't think anybody thinks, I'm straw manning it a little bit, right? Like you can't just grab like, oh, this pen, I'm going to list that so that my store is active. It doesn't work like that. I don't think anybody believes exactly it works like that. But I think sometimes you can be led down that path of, as long as I'm listing some things, I'm going to be selling way, way more. And there's not a direct correlation there. There's some causation, but it's not a direct correlation.
No, there isn't. I mean, I can tell you this Q4, there was a whole week where I just didn't list and I had crazy sales, right? And so what leads to more sales? And it's going to sound simple and it's going to be like, I can't believe I waited to the end of this episode, but it's having quality items that people want. And how do you determine that? Well, there's many ways. There's sold through rate. There's looking at prices. There's looking at trends. There's a lot of ways, but what we wanted to talk about in this Monday mini-sode is that, hey, listen, there's some good things out there. Sending offers is a good thing. Okay, having competitive pricing is a good thing. Listing daily is a good thing, but it's not a guarantee. What I think people should be honing on right now, especially, that things are interesting. And we just had a whole episode about being selective, is honing down what you're good at sourcing and what people are buying. And if you can get that, then I do think you will be able to get a lot more sales than just by listing and sending offers and pricing competitively. Yeah. And with that being said, make sure to be real,
be relevant,
and be reselling late.
Peace.